Archaeological excavations and research have been taking place on the territory of Egypt for over 100 years. During this time, scientists have made numerous discoveries, many of which have truly amazed them and even changed our understanding of the history of ancient Egypt. Nothing in the world compares in mystery to the enormous ancient lion with a human head known as the Great Sphinx. It is believed to have been built around 2500 BC for the pharaoh Khafra. Yes, the Sphinx is that ancient. Then the Sphinx was buried in sand, then the statue was attempted to be unearthed to admire it. This happened several times until the first modern archaeological excavations were carried out in 1817. To this day, not all the secrets of this statue have been revealed. For example, there is a hole in the Sphinx's head, and no one knows what it is for. One 16th century traveler wrote that the hole was used so that priests could speak through it, making it seem as if the Sphinx itself were speaking. In many depictions, the Sphinx wears a crown, and if it did exist, the hole could have been used to secure it. However, in 1926, the hole was closed with a metal hatch. In the same year, the Sphinx was cleared of sand, and archaeologists suddenly discovered a mysterious tunnel on the north side of the cross. The discovery caused a great stir, but soon the tunnel was hidden by a stone masonry, and only after 50 years, 3 elderly men working nearby remembered the existence of the passage. It was reopened in 1980. It is worth noting that the tunnel is quite unusual, consisting of an upper and lower part that are angled at about 90 degrees to each other. Why was this done? One theory suggests that the tunnel was dug by treasure hunters after the statue was built. That is, the main tunnel was drilled from top to bottom, and then an additional passage was dug at the bottom. In fact, this could have happened even in ancient times in Egypt because many ancient tombs were quickly looted, and no one was afraid of any curses. Another theory suggests that this ancient shaft is an exploratory tunnel or an unfinished tomb shaft that leads nowhere. Why into the void? Seismic tomographic scanning of the statue revealed a void beneath the surface measuring 11 by 9 meters, located at a depth of 5 meters. The discovery caused a stir in the scientific community as it may indicate that unknown artifacts could be hidden beneath the cult statue. Perhaps this location has never been seen by treasure hunters and has remained in its original state. While seismic tomography has been used in the past to detect underground anomalies, this particular void is notable for its size and location. In addition to this void, several other empty spaces have been discovered in the area. One of them is believed to be something like an ancient library that may contain valuable information about ancient Egyptian history and culture. But there is one serious problem. The mysterious room is quite deep and is likely to have been flooded by groundwater. It is located at a depth of 5 meters. Overall, the Sphinx is an amazing monument and one of the most recognizable statues in the world. But perhaps the statue was not always as we see it today. According to some researchers, the statue's head was originally that of a lion, not a human. Geologist Colin Reeder discovered that the body of the Sphinx is much older than its head, suggesting that the human features were added later. The theory is supported by other evidence. It turns out that the head and body of the Sphinx are disproportionate, indicating that the head was originally that of a lion, not a human. Lions were also a powerful symbol of power for the ancient Egyptians. Scientists have even tried to recreate what the Sphinx looked like when it was first built. However, these results require the creation of the Sphinx to be dated to an earlier time, which is why Egyptologists still do not fully accept this theory. Various secret passages are what ancient Egypt is well known for. And the more advanced technologies become, the more we learn about these passages. Let's take the Great Pyramid, for example. Thanks to achievements in physics, scientists were able to detect a huge void hidden inside the famous pyramid. In 2016, an international group of scientists announced that they had discovered an empty space about 30 meters long. The purpose for which this void was created is unclear. It could be a chamber, a tunnel, or a large gallery. Perhaps no one intended to build it, and the void appeared by chance, which is also a plausible theory. Most likely, the empty space serves some engineering purposes, such as helping to reduce the load on other known chambers of the pyramid. In short, we can only hope that technology will continue to develop, and that in the future, we will be able to see through the stones and see what is inside the pyramid. If you think that research on ancient Egyptian structures is progressing too slowly, you are right. Studying a long-lost culture can be a difficult task, and it often gives rise to many strange theories. But for now, let's talk about the Serapium in Memphis, which was an ancient burial site for sacred bulls. At least 60 animals were buried there over a period of 1400 years. The sarcophagi for these bulls were made of solid stone and weighed up to 70 tons each. The process of selecting a new bull began after the old one died. It is worth noting that the sacred bull had a fabulous life, and was cherished and pampered. But any bull inevitably had to die, and therefore preparations for its death were made in advance, as creating a sarcophagus took quite a lot of time. Once the bull departed to the afterlife, its body was mummified or preserved in some other way until final burial. The cycle repeated again and again, and it continued until about 30 years before the Common Era, when worshipping the sacred bull stopped. The Romans began to rule the country. When the Serapium was reopened, it became a true archaeological wonder and gave rise to many strange theories. For example, some people believe that the giant sarcophagi were meant for the burial of giant people, because the ancient Egyptians simply could not have spent so much time and effort on just bulls. As it turns out, they could, because the ancient Egyptians held animals in great respect. For instance, archaeologists discovered an incredible feline necropolis in Bubastis, a temple complex dedicated to the feline goddess Bastet. As a result of the excavations, an unprecedented number of animals were found, which had been mummified and left as offerings to the goddess. According to some estimates, literally thousands of cat mummies were wrapped in linen bandages and decorated with amulets depicting Bastet. To the north of Bubastis lies the Anubium, a temple complex dedicated to Anubis, the jackal-headed god of death, where millions of mummified dogs are stored in labyrinthine tunnels. In short, people in ancient times were quite successful in mummifying the little incarnations of deities. In ancient times, the catacombs were filled with mummified ibises, hawks, crocodiles, cobras, and even baboons. We think that the ancient Egyptians were sometimes so enthusiastic that they mummified anyone who wasn't fast enough to escape. But mummification, of course, had a sacred meaning, and the mummies served as an offering to the deity. It's easier to say which animals the Egyptians did not mummify. As far as scientists know, they did not mummify pigs, hippos, and that's all. But this custom had one peculiar feature. Animal mummification reached such a scale that people began making fake mummies. Real mummies were expensive, but in high demand, so traders had to come up with this trick. Imagine the surprise of modern researchers when they used a computer tomography and X-ray machine to look under the bandages of mummies and discovered that about a third of them were empty inside, lacking a skeleton or anything else. Animals were actually very lucky that the sacred ibis in modern-day Egypt did not become extinct. When animals in the wild began to disappear, extensive breeding programs were launched for birds in temples and surrounding areas. So some animal species were saved. But the very idea of breeding animals just to later mummify them is horrifying. But let's leave the poor ancient animals alone. There are more interesting things to be found in tombs. What are the chances of finding a meteorite in an ancient tomb? If, of course, you are willing to explore old tombs. A new study helped make an amazing discovery: beads made from a meteorite. Their age is estimated to be around 5,000 years. The beads were found in 1911 at a cemetery located about 64 kilometers south of Cairo. The beads from the burial site represent the first known use of iron in ancient Egypt. It turned out that the beads were rich in nickel, a sign of meteoric iron. Modern research has confirmed that it was not an alloy, but a natural composition of the material. Moreover, researchers claim that the beads have a characteristic crystalline structure found only in meteorites. Most likely, the decoration was placed in the tomb because of its rare beauty and presumed magical properties. For us, iron may seem familiar and boring, but for the ancient Egyptians, something that fell from the sky was definitely something special. Friends, that's it for now. Check out my other videos on my channel. New ones are coming out tomorrow, so don't miss them. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye.